What is going on, guys? It's Modded Warfare here. Welcome back to another PS4 video. So I've got something a bit special for you guys today, and that is a new version of the Homebrew Store by Lightning Mods that gives it a ton of extra functionality, including, you know, kind of multi-man level stuff in a way. I guess you could say this is kind of like the first real attempt to make a multi-man style app for the PS4. Obviously, it's not going to have the same kind of level of functions that actual multi-man for the PS3 has, but this is kind of a genuine step in that direction. So obviously the Homebrew Store is created by Lightning Mods, but this new version has had work done by other developers who have put effort into this, like Al Aziv and Crazy Void, Kiwi Dog, and I believe Socratic Bliss as well, potentially others. So yeah, this is a pretty big effort into seriously updating the Homebrew Store to give it extra functionality. And yeah, it's actually really cool. So I'm going to be showing you guys that here in this video. It's not out at the time of recording and probably not at the time of uploading this video. It will be out on the 6th of November. That apparently is the scheduled release date. So I currently have a beta version, but it should be pretty similar, pretty much the same as the release version. When you guys get it, it should update automatically. So if you already have the Homebrew Store installed, you can just run it and it will automatically update once the new version is available. And I'll also have a download link to it down in the video description, which again will just take you to the old version right now. But when the new version's out, you'll be able to update to the latest version. So a quick word on how to install this if you haven't already got the Homebrew Store installed. Obviously, you're going to need to go onto your internet browser and load up your exploit host, whichever one you use. And we're going to run the Gold Hen payload. That's the one I would recommend. It should work with other Hen versions and Mira as well, of course. So if you want to run Mira instead, you can. But obviously, I believe it's been tested mainly on Gold Hen. So Gold Hen is probably the payload that you should run for this. So once you get the WebKit exploit loaded up, as you can see right here, we'll then get access to our lovely jailbreak. And there we go. And then all we have to do is load up Gold Hen payload, just like that. So once you have the Gold Hen payload running, you'll then be able to put the package file on a USB drive. So if we switch over to the computer, I have the store package right here for the Homebrew Store. And we're just going to throw that on a USB drive, just like that. And then you should be good to go. You just eject the drive, plug it into your PS4, and we can then install it on the PS4. Okay, and then once you're on the PS4, we can then go into the settings menu, scroll down to debug settings, game package installer, and then from here you just select the Homebrew Store, and that will install it onto the PS4. So once you have it installed, we're going to go ahead and run it here, and I'll show you guys some of the new features that are included in this version. So we get our RSA check, logged in as beta user. Obviously you won't get that message once it's finally released. Okay, so let's just cover some of the basics first. Obviously, you have some new information popping up in the top right-hand corner. You've got the store version, you've got the system version, temperature, all of that kind of stuff. You also have storage showing down there in the bottom left-hand corner that shows how much storage space you have available in the user folder on the hard drive. And if we go into store apps, of course, this is the stuff you've already seen before. You can select an app, you can download it to your PS4, and then you can install it automatically, instead of having to download it on the computer and then installing it via USB drives like we just did with the store itself. But the thing about this new version is it has more ways to filter between the different packages in the store, and I'm sure there'll be more homebrew packages added to the store as well when the new version comes out. So for example, you can do sort by, and you can sort by, you know, ID, name, package version, all that kind of stuff. You can even filter by as well, and you can filter by the author as well. So if you're looking for any packages from, say, Lappy, for example, you can just select Lappy, and then you get all of Lappy's homebrew package files showing up right here. And then, of course, you've got all these other package files from these other developers. So if you want to just search for package files by developer, you can do that. And of course, there's lots of other ways that you can filter as well. You can filter by the playable version. So, you know, if depending on what the homebrew package is for, what firmware version, because some of these package files are old and they may only work on 5.05. And then, you know, there's ones that may only work on 7.55. So you can filter by your firmware version as well. So that's kind of the basics, some of the basic improvements to finding the homebrew apps in the store to make it a little bit easier. But the kind of main thing that has been added in this version, the thing that I'm most excited about anyway, is that if you go to installed apps, this will take you to this right here, which is just incredible. So this really reminds me of, obviously it's like an OMSK look. If you haven't seen my video showing OMSK and IDU mode, then check it out. I'll have a link to it in the description and in the cards in the top right hand corner. But this is essentially like a custom made IDU mode for the PS4. And the amount of work that has to have gone into this is just insane, because this apparently, according to Lightning Mods, this isn't made using, you know, some kind of game engine like Unity or Unreal Engine or anything. This is like, yeah, this was just like purely coded in C. And yeah, it's pretty awesome. So you can scroll through all your games. Now, this is a game launcher, but it does give you more options than just launching your games. For example, here's Minecraft. I can select Minecraft, and then it gives me a bunch of different options. So I can launch the game, and this is a genuine game launcher. So if I select launch game, as you can see, it launches me straight into the game. Just as, say, Multiman would. If you're on PS3, you could launch the games from within Multiman. Well, you can launch your games from within here as well. So we'll just go ahead and close application now and head back into the Homebrew Store. And as you can see, the Homebrew Store did not close. It stayed running. So you can just hop back in and it resumes from where we left off. Now, of course, as you can see, there's some other options in here. The other big one is the ability to dump the game. Now, that does not just go for fake package files. Obviously, a fake package file is already decrypted. So dumping the game is just the same as basically just copying it, you know, from the hard drive to your USB drive or something like that. But you can do this with retail games as well. In fact, I'll pop in a copy of Uncharted 4. So this is a disc copy of Uncharted 4. I'm just going to stick this in to the disk drive in the PS4. Okay, there you go. So copying from disk is complete. You can now start the application. So to refresh the list, when you put a game in, you just hit the triangle button on your controller, and it will say that the installed apps list can now reload. Click OK, and if we go back into the installed apps again, this time we should have our game showing up. There it is right there, Uncharted 4. So this is the disc copy, and I have the same options on the disc copy. I can launch the game and I can dump it. Essentially is the same dumper that's in the dumper payload that will actually dump it to your USB drive, so you can turn it into a fake package file. So instead of having to use a payload and having like an INI file on the USB drive to tell the dumper what ways you want to dump the game, you can just do it from within this Homebrew app, which is pretty awesome. And apparently this dumper is going to be upgraded. Alizev is working on a new dumper that will be integrated into the Homebrew Store at some point. This current one uses the old one, which is the same one that's in the payload, but it's going to be improved upon, so there'll probably be additional options, and you know, you'll see a better dumper integrated into this at some point in the near future. But anyway, just to show that this works, we'll do Minecraft just because it's small and it's not going to take too long to dump. So we'll go ahead and select Minecraft, and we'll select dump game so you can see the whole process. So it says, after the game launches, when you press OK, wait a few seconds, then go back to the store and the game will begin dumping. Do not close the game or store until the dump is complete. So yeah, basically as soon as you click OK, it will automatically launch the game because the game needs to be running in order for the dumper to work. So as you can see, the game is now running. I can wait a few seconds and then press the middle button and go back into the store. So we go back into the store. And there we go. It starts the dumper. And that's it. It's that simple. Starting to dump the game. And there it goes. It's now dumping the game to the USB drive. I can see the little LED on my external hard drive flashing. So it is dumping the game to the drive. So yeah, really cool that this can now be done inside a Homebrew app instead of having to be done with payloads. And honestly, I really wish that we could start getting away from payloads in general and switch to Homebrew apps. Like if more Homebrew apps started doing the same functions that were in payloads, I just think it's better to have it as a Homebrew app. That way you only have to go into the WebKit like once to load Hen, and then once that's loaded, you can access everything else via a Homebrew app in a more stable way than others. Okay, and after all those messages pop up, it should just kind of disappear, and then we're just waiting for it to finish the dumping process. And once it's done, it will give you a message saying that it has finished dumping. And there you go, dump of the game is complete without errors. And now that game should be dumped to my USB drive, so I should have the title ID-app folder with all of the dumped files in it. And obviously if I had any game updates installed, it would have dumped those to the USB as well, and I could then turn that into a fake package version. Obviously this game's already a fake package version, so there's no use to do that. But for a disc version of a game like Uncharted 4, for example, this disc copy, I could do the same thing and dump it to my USB drive and turn it into a fake package version. Now you also have the ability to uninstall the game from here as well, and also uninstall just the update, which can be very useful if you're installing modded updates and stuff onto your games and you want to remove the update to, you know, bring it back to the base game so you can install maybe an older version of an update or something. Then you have that ability from within here. There's also a trainer that's not implemented yet, but apparently this is going to be implemented. Now I assumed he was just going to make it so that it opens up a, you know, like a web page on the app that takes you to the PS4 trainer, but apparently it's going to be a lot more advanced than that. It's going to use some kind of like PRX style plugin that should, you know, be able to automatically detect what title ID version of the game that's running and install the correct cheats and apply the correct cheats to that game automatically, instead of you having to go on like PS4 trainer and search for it. So that'll be really cool once that's implemented, but obviously it's not currently available just yet, so we'll have to wait for that. But yeah, it's still really, really impressive. Also, there's a little Easter egg in here if you want to, I mean, this animated background's really cool and all that, but if you want to make it look more like OMSK itself, there's actually a little Easter egg that allows you to change the background to the original kind of OMSK background. Just to show you how you do that, if we press circle to exit, we can then go into the settings menu and go down to enable CFBG shader. If I select that and change that to false and then go back to our installed apps, you can see we now have the kind of traditional OMSK background, which is a cool little Easter egg that Lightning Mods added in there. So yeah, anyway, this is just what I've been gushing about so far. I really like just how this looks. It reminds me so much of Aurora on the 360 and, you know, Freestyle Dash on the Xbox 360 as well. It just looks really cool. So, oh, and one final thing, you can also go to package-zone.com. If you didn't already know, there is a web version of the Homebrew Store, I guess you could say, on pkg-zone.com that you can go to download the Homebrew apps if for whatever reason you need to, you know, download them to your computer instead of downloading them directly to the PS4 itself. Then you can access all the packages on pkgzone.com. So you will need an account on that website though in order to download the packages, but you can go ahead and download them directly to your computer from there as well. But yeah, that's basically it from me for this video, this general overview. Remember, this whole new version of the Homebrew Store will be available on November 6th, so just a few more days, and then everybody can try this out for themselves. So yeah, and I'm really excited to see where this goes in the future, especially taking these kind of payloads that we normally have to access through the WebKit and integrating them into Homebrew apps instead, or maybe integrating them plus other functions of other Homebrew apps all into this one Homebrew Store app, which would definitely turn it into more of this kind of all-in-one multi-man style application for the PS4. Is really, really cool, and it's very impressive what Lightning Mods and the rest of the team have been able to do here. So yeah, anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video or found the information useful. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll hopefully see you guys in the next one.